Good day, everybody, and welcome back again to Splints and Whiskey. Splints and Whiskey is the podcast that talks to military medicine, first responders, and those who serve on the front lines for all of us globally across the nation and internationally, which is so exciting. So I want to thank you guys for listening and for being here today. Today I've got a great friend of mine. His name is Joe, and Joe is going to introduce himself to you in just a second. And before he does, I just have to thank our sponsor for allowing us to be here today. Our sponsor is Life Autonomous Care Consultants. Life Autonomous Care Consultants is a company that sells anything from IFACs, it's trauma training gear or trauma training in itself. So they would sell anything from IFACs all the way up to medical mannequins to the Department of Defense, to first responders, and to people that are in any type of the audience that we have outside listening to us. Those who are junkies like us for training. So thank you again for listening. Joe, I am
Hey,
so excited that you are here. And I want you to introduce yourself. Joe is from Canine Heroes for Heroes. I am honored that you said yes to coming on the show. Thank you. And
of
if you don't
course.
mind, would you please introduce yourself to the audience and kind of give
Yes.
us your background?
Yeah, so my name's Joe Gionti. I am the founder of Canine Heroes for Heroes. Our mission is we provide service dogs to veterans and first responders at no cost to them. So I often get asked like how did I start this? So I make it abundantly clear I'm a civilian. I'm not a veteran, I'm not a former first responder. I do this for them. I got to a stage in my life where too old to serve in any capacity. And how can I give back to those who have given so much? And the dogs and the specifically service dogs is what I came up with. It just expanded on how I can give back to these amazing individuals. So, and I kind of go back to just my childhood as I grew up. I had a great grandfather come over from Sicily, joined the American Army, went to World War One, came back, became a citizen. His sons were World War Two. My dad was in between Korea and Vietnam. Father-in-law was in lifelong martial artist. My martial arts instructor was a police officer. So it's just been ingrained within me. And I spent some time at the Virginia Military Institute. A lot of guys that I went to school with ended up going in the service. So again, it's is how can I give back? Because I have such a deep love and admiration for anyone that's worn the nation's uniform or the community's uniform because they've given and continue to give. As well as I do, you find so many people that get out of the military then continue to either become a police officer, a firefighter, a paramedic. They continue to give. And I wanted to figure out how I could give. And this is what I
Yeah.
came up with. Yeah, I see what these dogs do, and it is absolutely life changing what they're doing for our veterans and first responders. So, kind of in a quick nutshell, that's how Canine Heroes for Heroes came to be. I started it in 2021, and of course, as you can imagine, being a nonprofit and paying for all the things we pay for, the first couple years were just fundraising. I like to tell people I'm a professional beggar, but I'm really an amateur because I don't take a paycheck yet. So
Me too. Me too. Me too. It's so crazy. I hate to interrupt you, but it's so
no,
crazy.
no, you're
Me
good.
too. I give like I don't I I'm embarrassed to say it. I feel like I should put my foot in my mouth. I give so much financially of our family, right?
Yeah.
To my nonprofit and knowing that one day it's going to pay off.
It is. It absolutely is. And speaking, you kind of say of paying off, and I know you've seen it in what you're doing, and I see it in what I'm doing. When I see a veteran or first responder doing things they never thought they'd do again, it makes it all worth it. Because as you and I have discussed, and people that have heard me in other podcasts or met me in person, I still have a full-time day job. So before work, I'm doing Canine Heroes for Heroes. At lunch, I go out to my car and I do Canine Heroes for Heroes. I get home, I do Canine Heroes for Heroes, but it's my passion. It's what I believe I was called to do. We all need to find what that is. I found mine a little later in life. For the audience that's watching, there's a little gray in this beard. So, I'm a little older, but I found what I'm supposed to be doing, and I want to make every day count towards that. Again, it goes to because what they've done for us. We can never
So,
repay that, but we have to try.
so tell me, tell me a day in the life. Somebody comes to you and then you go from there.
Yeah. So what the process is a veteran or first responder will reach out through the website, reach out in person, whatever it may be. Maybe they see us at an event and there's an online application they need or initial eligibility form they fill out, and then I send them a full application. As you can imagine, that's DD 214, it's medical records, it's a day in the life of them. What we need to
Yeah,
do is we not only are protecting the veteran, but we're protecting the dog as well. We need to make sure that one, they truly are a veteran or first responder, and they have a need for them because this isn't just a well-trained pet. This is a service dog. Service dogs have to do work. That's why they have more rights and access than emotional support or a therapy dog. They're doing work. So a service dog has to perform three tasks minimum. A task can be behavior interruption. We'll teach that dog to learn what the trigger is, maybe for a veteran or first responder when they're about to have a PTSD episode or something to that effect. We'll teach the dog to interrupt that behavior. Then the person now concentrates on the dog. They're out of their own head, kind of brings them back to the present. It could be picking up medicine, could be picking up their own leash, could be mobility, stability. Maybe they need to lean on that dog a little bit. So that's the big difference is they're actually doing work. That's why they are a service dog. They're providing a service for their handler. A big one too that we put on all the dogs is a block and a cover. We'll teach that dog to stand in between themselves and their handler, or like they would be between me and you. So maybe the first responder or veteran, they want to go back out in public, but they're not comfortable. So that dog
right.
gives them space, or we'll teach them to cover behind them. Maybe they're checking out of the grocery store and they want to know that their back is secure. So the dog learns a cover position. In my opinion, if you can think of it, you can teach a dog to do it.
Who can I ask you, okay,
Absolutely.
who trains the dogs?
So I do part of the training. We also partner with Ridgeside K9 Ashtabula. Ridgeside is a local full service kennel. Again, because like we talked about earlier, I still have a day job, so I can't train them all day. So
Right.
Ridgeside, they do pet dogs, sport dogs, our service dogs, police dogs, the whole gamut of dogs. So we partner with them to get all this training done. They have a great group of trainers that have several of our dogs with them right now because all these dogs are going to start out learning what any pet dog would learn. They're going to learn the sits, the stays, the downs, any of that, and then we start putting tasks on them. But one of the
Oh
things
my
we do,
gosh.
yeah, one of the things we do to try to prepare these dogs for their future as a service dog, shortly after they're born and are weaned off of the mother, they may be standing in a little bit of water while they're eating, or on bubble wrap, or on an unfamiliar surface to condition them to none of this bother them. Because we try to think of every scenario out there, but of course something's going to come up we may have not have thought of, but the dog needs to be comfortable doing that. There's video of us at a fundraiser by a company named Shell Shock Technologies where Loki's between my legs. He's wearing eye protection, ear protection. I'm shooting an AR. People are like, oh, that's a cool gimmick. It's not a gimmick. Maybe the veteran or first responder loves the shooting sports and they want to continue doing that, but they need their dog with them. So that's just
Right.
one scenario we're trying to teach them to be able to handle. But as you can imagine, Loki and I had to get down there. It was in Florida. We're in Ohio. So he has to be comfortable flying. So we train them for that. You know,
I,
we'll,
I,
we'll,
I first want to apologize that you're in Ohio. But I'll keep going.
that's okay. That's quite all right. It's about to snow here probably.
I know I'm only kidding because of the weather. The people in
Yeah.
Ohio are amazing. It's the weather
Yeah.
that I lived in Cincinnati for 7 years.
Yeah.
And so I only say that because of a mutual respect for we,
Yeah.
we would say that Midwest is the best.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is
But
cold. It is
it is.
cold.
But and that brings up another important thing we do with our dogs is we teach them to run on a treadmill because we do live in Northeast Ohio. It gets cold. When it's 0 degrees out, I don't want to go outside. Loki doesn't care. So we teach them to run on a treadmill. Or if Loki and I are traveling, or maybe the veteran or first responders traveling, they can go to the hotel gym and put their dog on a treadmill. We were at
That's
another,
crazy.
yeah, we were at another fundraiser down in Florida not too long ago. It's about 5 in the morning. Loki and I are at the gym. He's on the treadmill, and people are walking in, and I'm like, I bet you weren't expecting to see this when you got up, but it's important because we have to care for them mentally, physically, and emotionally. The dogs rely on us for everything, so we need to give to them as much as they're given to us.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I'm sure you have a very long list of people who want to be a recipient of your dogs, right? So how do you choose?
So you'd be surprised how hard it is actually getting some of these veterans because they still have the giving heart, the volunteering heart. A lot of I hear from them is, oh, somebody needs it more than me. Or, sometimes it's if I have a dog, somebody's going to know something's wrong. So it's getting over that stigma
Yeah,
for them as well.
yeah,
But
yeah.
one of the things that I didn't realize till a little bit ago when one of our recipients got his dog, he was under the misconception if I have a service dog, that dog has to go with me everywhere I go. They don't. It's another tool in your healing process. You bring the dog when you need him, you leave the dog when you don't. Our head trainer, Travis, who runs Ridgeside K9 Ashtabula, spent 8 years in Afghanistan as a civilian contractor. And he credits his dog with saving his life. But one of the things he brought up to this recipient is, hey, there's times I brought Cairo. I wish I'd have left her at home. There's times I left her at home. I wish I would have brought her. So these dogs are another tool in the healing process. So now that I've started articulating that more so that they understand that dog doesn't always have to be with you. It's a little more palatable to some of these veterans. But I think one of the big things is getting over that, hey, somebody deserves it more than me. No, you deserve it. You earned it. But we do vet them. So when the application comes in, myself, I've got a couple veterans on the board. Travis is on the board. We've got a veterinarian on the board and a couple other members. We vet the application because we
Hmm.
have to, again, make sure they're a veteran or a first responder. They deserve the dog. They can handle the care of a dog. Once we do that, then we have a face-to-face. Matter of fact, this is Friday. I don't know when this is going to go up, but Saturday we have.
It'll go out a Monday from
Okay.
now.
Okay. So Saturday we've got two veterans coming out to the training facility. Myself and a couple board members will be out there, and we'll also have the prospective dogs that these individuals may get. We're not interviewing them at the same time. It'll be separate, but we're going to have a face-to-face interview with them, get to know them a little better. Once that's done, then the board will reconvene. And if we say, yes, these individuals are good candidates and recipients, I send them their final kind of commitment letter. And when I say commitment, I don't mean financially, I mean time, because they've got to be able to come out to the training facility, work with the trainers, work with their dog. The dog needs to learn, what do I need to do for my human? So we haven't kind of touched upon this yet, but the cost of these dogs is about $30,000 to $35,000 per dog. And that's the recipient doesn't pay any of that. If they want to help us fundraise, if they want to come to events, and that's great, but it's not a requirement. So we're doing
Uh,
everything for them.
I know you're a nonprofit, but how are you doing on fundraising? I mean, are you at the point right now, Joe, where you have your own job too, besides
Yeah.
this? I mean,
Yes.
because your organization is pretty well known. So, uh, how could you bring it to the next level? What would you need for our listeners to know to bring it to the
So
next level?
the next level is being able to do it full time. And in
Yeah.
order to do that, we have to have reoccurring donations. We do get we're doing well so far. We're starting to really ramp up with our donations, which is phenomenal. We launched something called the Founders Club, where we sought out 6 companies that are committing to $2,000 a month for a year and starting in 2026. We already have possibly 4. 2 I can name right now. Blue Lake Cleaning and Chardon Performance Therapy have already jumped on board. They have given their first deposit to hold their spots, and that those reoccurring donations will be huge. It's going to allow me to start spending even more time doing what I'm doing.
And you said it was 2,000 a month? Just 2,000 a month.
For,
That's it?
to be part of the Founders Club. Now that's
Okay.
outside. So in the Founders Club, we're basically an extension of their marketing department. They're going to be at all our events with us. When I say them, I mean their logos, their company information. These companies truly believe in what we're doing and want to help the veteran and first responder community. So they have committed to this money. So, but we still go, we have golf outings and we have, can't call it a shooting outing, but we have events at a shooting range with that Shell Shock Technologies. We've already
Yeah.
got that in the books for next year. We've got another golf outing for next year. We had a company, DNA Armory. They're a local gun dealer up here. They donated a pistol that we just raffled off to somebody. It was a Dan Wesson pistol. They're on board to try to help us have a big private event with some of their higher end clients. So we're really starting to make those connections. And these people truly believe in what we're doing, which is it's touching to me that, we're small compared to some of the other nonprofit service dog companies out there, but they can see what we're trying to do, that we have the passion and we have the love and respect for the veteran and first responder community, that it's not just words. This isn't a money making scheme. This is how do we help these individuals who have given so much live the life they want to lead.
Mm. Uh, could you give me a success story that blew your mind? Like that's I've already had the chills
Yeah.
about times on this call and
Yeah.
like almost to tears really.
So
Um
this,
because I have a
yeah,
rescue dog, but and I say he rescued me because I have PTSD, but he's not trained. Um
they're so intuitive. It's unbelievable. Yeah,
yeah,
there's
he's the best. And but anyway, give me a
yeah.
success story if you don't
So
mind.
there's a woman in our program. She has her service dog Bella and not comfortable at all being out in public anymore. Well, we had an event at this Lake County Captains is a local I don't know if they call them farm teams or whatever, baseball team. And they rented out the field to the War Dogs. War Dogs is a bunch of veterans that go around the country and they play a baseball game against other similar teams. Well, we went out on the field, myself, Loki, Travis, his dog Cairo, Bella, and Debbie went out there. We did the ceremony because it's all honor of veterans. And as we came off the field, the players came off the field, and every player gave Debbie a hug. And I know how stressful that was for her. And I'm watching her. Is she good? She had Bella
Yeah.
by her side. She had Bella with her. She was great. It was absolutely phenomenal to see her going out in public and doing things she never thought she'd do again. And
Yeah.
then Blueberry, a lot of people know Blueberry. It's a little black lab in our program. Blueberry is in her final stages of handler training, and her handler sent me a letter, not a letter, sent me a text saying this is changing my life. I was down getting some work done on my car where this individual works, and he had Blueberry with him, and Blueberry was just constantly eyeballing him, and you could just see how much it was helping him just navigate the day-to-day activities of his job. So absolutely amazing, and it brings tears. And one last one I'll tell you about, and this one brings me chills. So Loki goes to church with me. For those that don't know, Loki is my service dog, and he's the face of the business. And again, for those
Wait,
watching,
time out. Your service
yeah,
dog.
yeah, Loki.
But why do you need a service dog?
I have my own things that he helps me with,
Okay.
so Loki's my service dog, and Loki's the face of the business because I tell people, would you rather look at Loki or me? And I'm not offended when you say Loki. So So Loki goes to church with me, and I stand in the back because I don't want to be a distraction, even though when you got a dog with you, you typically are. So Loki is laying down before mass starts, and one of the ushers is talking to another usher, and Loki gets up and he is laser focused on this individual. And I'm trying to think of why. He knows this guy. The guy's never pet him, and I'll go into why the individual's never pet him before. And the individual comes over to me and tells me his wife had recently passed. Loki could sense something was wrong with this man, and I actually let Loki nudge the man's hand because that's what he needed. And it still gives me chills that they're so intuitive. He knew something was different with this man. Now that kind of leads into a question I get asked often: why don't you pet a service dog? And it's simply because they have a job to do. If you let people pet your service dog, feed your service dog, them go smell and play with other dogs, they're not focused on what they need to do. The reality is, if you see a service dog, you should ignore that dog like it's not even in the room. Don't bend down and put your face in its face. Definitely don't reach out and touch it. So, you know, that's the big reason. They've got a job to do. We don't want to distract them from their job because it could really affect the veteran or first responder if their dog's not able to focus on them. That was the one incident I let Loki go outside of what he normally does because it meant so much to this individual. This was several months ago and he still talks about it because I see him at church, all the time. And
Oh my
it
gosh.
just yeah, it brings me peace and it brings
It
me
brings
joy to
me
see.
tears. It does. Um, it's a lot to make me speechless. Um, a lot. And you and I have talked offline. You know that's true.
Yeah.
Um, so does your daughter.
Yeah.
I've attacked her. Um, but um, but I have PTSD myself. I suffer from and now we've changed the word to PTS,
Right.
right? Or the acronym to PTS.
Right.
And I have a dog who's a service dog. He's not from you, but I didn't know you then. And what he does with me is when he knows that when I'm having a moment, I'm getting better because I've done a bunch of trauma therapy and trauma narrative. It obviously takes a
Hmm.
village, right?
Right.
But I put my hand out and he puts his hand on mine, and it's like we're holding hands.
Yeah.
He knows, he knows when mommy needs him.
Yeah.
And it has changed my life completely. And so then to think about that, that your dog there was at church with a lay person, but not lay person in the church, but lay person
Right.
to your own, you know, partner. That then he just knew.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah,
And
that's
it
amazing. I mean, that's
one of the
amazing.
one of the things I talk about too is I've talked to the priest at church and the other parishioners love that he's there. So I expand upon, yes, my service dog is there for me, your service dog is there for you, but just their presence helps others. They have such a calming presence about them that even just looking at them, people smile. But I'm glad you brought up the fact about your dog, putting her paw out to your hand. That's another very important task we teach the dogs is deep pressure therapy. We'll teach them lay across their owner and handler, and in that deep pressure, it provides that relief. Bella, who is Debbie's dog, hadn't been trained for night terrors, but she intuitively knew Debbie had some night terrors. Bella got up on the bed and laid across her. And one of the things we do as part of our training is the handlers are learning how to be trainers themselves. So
Yeah.
we're putting those three tasks on the dog, but the way we teach them to be a handler, they're learning how to add even more tasks. Debbie probably added another 10, 15 tasks onto her dog. Jamie, who has Blueberry, is teaching her new tasks. So it's never ending, and it is absolutely amazing what these dogs can do. Like one of the things I do, if you're Catholic, you know this, we kneel a lot in Mass. And one of the
Yeah.
things I do, I'm not a young man. I'm in good health, but I'm not a young man. And when I kneel
But
down
it's
for
hard
certain
to
parts, is
kneel. It is hard to
yeah.
kneel.
So when I kneel down, I'll use Loki as leverage to stand back up. And I taught him pressure is good. Don't shy away from it. Don't move away from it. One of the examples I use to show people that is, you know what a plank is, I'm sure from exercising.
Yeah.
I'll give Loki the stand command and I'll do a plank on him and he doesn't move because he's learned that's a good thing. So poor Loki is my test case. Let me try this on you, Loki, or try that on you, Loki, so that I can help the trainers at Ridgeside train our dogs. Because like you said, it's a village. It takes a whole team to get these dogs ready to go out into the world.
Um, okay. Wow. I'm 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 just so madly in love with the whole topic that I'm having a hard time because I mean I'm really almost at tears. I'm almost at tears. But it's joyous tears, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Um, so so let me ask you this. Breed wise, do you have to have a certain breed?
No, I mean, some obviously are going to be better than others. Right now in the program, we've got Loki's a German Shepherd, Bella's a German Shepherd. We've got a German Shepherd Malinois mix. We've got a Black Lab, and we've got two Golden Retrievers right now. We're going to start probably staying with the Golden Retriever, Black Lab, or Lab mix. They're very good dogs for this. Malinois, I don't recommend for most people. The Shepherd Malinois mix in the program is just a great dog. He's doing phenomenal, and the Shepherd calms down some of the insanity of a Malinois. But there are obviously you don't
I
want to
have a
give
Malinois
a.
mannequin that I'm very proud of. I told you,
That's right. We
but
talked about that. Yeah,
remember, but I told you, but by accident, I've left him in the trunk.
yeah.
But don't
Let's
don't
be
tell
make
Animal
make.
Patrol.
Yeah, yeah. Make sure people know that's a mannequin. It's not a real dog. You didn't put
It's
a
a
real dog in a
mannequin.
trunk.
It's a mannequin. I have a mannequin K9, and I moved him from my the back of the bed of my truck because I put a human mannequin, for what was going on with Ukraine in my truck.
Yeah,
So I moved over this canine mannequin that's that sort of dog. I can never say the name right. And anyway, he's still there and he's happy and his tongue is hanging out like he's just like
yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, I
he's
mean,
a
it's
good
just
dog.
awesome. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome. And one of the things we're continuing to do is evolve in our training methods, which is another reason I absolutely love the team at Ridgeside. They're not sitting back and saying, this is how it was done 10 years ago. This is how we need to train dogs. Myself, were continuing to learn how dogs think, how they process things, what their cognition is, so that we can help them better understand what we want them to do. I always use the analogy, if Loki's not doing something I want him to do, it's because I failed to properly teach him how. You know, they they can only do what we've instructed them to do,
Yeah.
and
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I've always
no,
loved
no.
that the saying that says there are no bad dogs, only bad trainers.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I say that with I own a business of, and we're in sales, right? And I say there are no bad salespeople, only bad managers or only bad
Yeah.
coaches. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
truth.
I mean, growing up, it
Yeah.
was the Dobermans were the vicious dog. Then it was the Shepherds. Then it was the Rottweilers. Then the Pit Bulls. I'm with you. It's the people. It's not the dog. But you have to understand the eccentricities, for lack of a better word, of the dog you have. You're not going to train a Chihuahua to be a personal protection dog. You you got to kind of know, and that's one of the things we don't put personal protection on our dogs. Most people can't handle a personal protection dog. It's a huge liability, and it's just not necessary. You know,
Well, let
we
me ask you this. So, let's say that someone was watching tonight or listening tonight, it's a podcast, but in some of the parts, it's a video, it's funny.
right.
So, let's say someone's watching or listening to this podcast and they think, damn. this is a godsend. It's an answer to prayer. I need I need to make sure that my uncle, my
Yeah.
sister, my father, my first responder needs to touch base with you guys at Canine Heroes for Heroes, right? Um, what's the process?
So they can go online to the website. It's just k9h4h.org or k9heroesforheroes.com. It'll either way, it'll get you to me. There's either you can send me an email with a question or you can fill out that initial eligibility form. And once I review it, then we have a conversation because one of the things that I tell people as well is we want to be a resource. So if I get a call or a text or an email from somebody in California, maybe it doesn't make sense funding wise, geographically, because you have to spend some time with us in order to really get this dog trained up.
Yeah,
I will reach out to other service dog companies that are in our database that we know are reputable and I can refer them to them. But
that's
if it's work,
cool.
yeah, again, I'd love to provide every service dog out there, but I know I can't. It's not realistic. There are
Right.
so many other great companies out there, and I'd like to mention a couple of them. There's one named
Please.
Mutts, yeah, one Mutts with a Mission out of Virginia. When I first started this, they reached out, said, "Hey, we're going to send you our application. Why should you start over?" Another one, Clear Path for Veterans out of New York. We've had long conversations with them. They've been a big help. Um, Forgotten Coast Canine out of Florida. So we're all in the same space, but we all want to help each other. Um, so yeah, I may refer them to somebody else. But if they're going to be with us, then I send the full application. And that's what we were talking about earlier. Once the application comes in, myself and the board, we review it. I've got veterans on the board because, I don't have the experience looking at a DD 214 or things of that nature. So they'll review it. If we all say, yes, this is a good candidate, that's when the
Yeah.
personal interview comes in. Personal interview comes. And then if that's all good, then we send them that final commitment.
God,
So
that's so cool.
once the final commitment, if they agree to our terms for the dog, then the handler training is going to begin. They're going to start getting acclimated with the dog, and it's a long process, but we're doing it because we need to make sure it's best. And so they'll do some in-person training at the training facility. Eventually that dog, okay, you're going to take the dog home for the weekend, but then it's going to come back. You're going to do more training. Okay, now you're going to take the dog for a week and then we'll do more training. So it's that gradual introduction into there. And one of the things I forgot to say is just because you have a dog in your home does not disqualify you from having a service dog. Is
Ooh, ooh.
Yeah, so both the
I wouldn't have
individual
known
has
that. Yeah, that was a good thing to think. Thank you.
Yeah, as long as the dogs can get along, obviously. The
Right.
individual who has Blueberry, his other dog's name is Pop Tart. Pop Tart's I think it's a bulldog. Him and Blueberry are like best friends, but Blueberry still knows when it's work mode, it's work mode. So
Yeah.
again, just because you have another dog doesn't mean you can't have a dog. Now, the one thing that is part of the application, and I understand when people give me the answer I'm about to tell you, it's if you have a dog in the home and it does not get along with the service dog, are you willing to rehome your dog? Now, most people's answer is going to be no. That's my family. I can't rehome the dog, but we have to ask because we have just as much a responsibility to the dog as we do to the person. So we need to make sure all our bases are covered. Part of the application is you're telling me what your day-to-day life is like.
Yeah,
Can
right,
you
right.
can you afford to take care of this dog once this dog is officially yours? And they're picking up any day-to-day pet owner costs. Up until that point, we're taking care of everything.
How many dogs do you have? This sounds, please ignore the way this sounds. I'm a layperson. On the market, like currently, how many dogs do you have
So
that are
we've got three that are in handler training right now. We've got
okay?
two that don't have any particular veteran paired with them yet, but those are the two interviews we have. Now, I have enough funding to get one or two more dogs. So we're going through all that right now. So that would get us to around 7 dogs. That's not
But
counting.
if you had more funding, question, sorry, if you had more funding, would your organization have the capability of
Yes.
So let's say
Yeah.
that someone listened to this podcast tonight and they said, I want to pay
Unknown caller.
$3,000 a month. Or I don't even know what the number is. They'd have to call you.
Yeah.
But let's say that they said, I want to pay for three more dogs.
Yep. We could absolutely take care of that. And
You, okay.
it's funny you say that. We actually have one has already committed family. They are privately funding an entire dog. We've got another one that I'll be having a phone call with soon that wants to fund an entire dog. But the one thing I wanted to bring up, we talk about that $30,000 to $35,000 cost per dog. We don't need that money up front. All of it, I should say, because we're not spending all that money up front. So the Founders Club is a prime example of the people that are doing the $2,000 a month for a year or whatever that may be. If somebody called and said, "Hey, I want to give you a routine donation of X number of dollars a month," and that would go towards the dogs. So yeah, we don't need all that money up front, but one of the little perks we give if somebody does hold an event. There's a dog in the program. Her name is Sage. Her name is Sage because Sage
Oh my
Integration,
God.
Sage Integration held a golf outing that raised enough money for her. So we let them name her.
I'm only laughing because Sage is the name. My dog's name is Cilantro. I've told you that. And it's so Sage is the mom. So it's called Sage and the Nine Herbs. So there was Sage was the mom, and then it was cilantro, basil, thyme,
Oh, that's funny.
marjoram, dill, right? Like it kept going, right? And I was a Spanish major, so I kept cilantro as the name. And my father, who's always approving, was like, "You can change the name, right?" And I'm going, ¿Por qué voy a cambiar el nombre? Like, why would I ever change the name? I
Yeah.
was a Spanish major. His name is
Yeah.
Cilantro. But anyway, his mom's name is Sage. So I'm sorry. That's why I caught.
That's okay. Yeah. No, so I mean, and Blueberry, her Blueberry's full name is DM Blueberry. The DM stands for deal maker. I went to an event in Tennessee. It had nothing to do with veterans, nothing to do with first responders. It was an entrepreneurial event. And my friend from Blue Lake Cleaning, who I told you is one of our founding in the Founders Club, said, "Hey, Joe, you really need to go to this." My whole drive from Ohio to Tennessee, I'm trying to think of how do I get in front of this room of very wealthy individuals to individuals like myself. So Mark Evans, whose event it was, gave his talk. An individual named Sean Lyons or Sean Whalen, who owns the company Lions Not Sheep, did his presentation. That was question and answer time. I'm going to have a question holstered. I always got it in because I got a dog beside me. I raised my hand. I asked, I don't even remember what my exact question. It was funding loans for nonprofits or something. And Sean started to answer it. And then he said, F that. Come on up on stage. So me and Loki went up on stage, about 400 people in the room. Sean said, forget about this loan for nonprofits. Who's going to donate $1,000 right now? In about 5 minutes, they raised $30,000.
Oh
So
my
that's
God.
why Blueberry's name is DM Blueberry, Deal Maker Live. So yeah, it was phenomenal, and that brought me to tears. It's just knowing there are people out there that want to support our veterans and first responders through what I'm doing. I had a
Yeah.
phone call today, and I can't give any details yet, but I had a phone call today with somebody of means who really wants to help out as well. So it's such a blessing that to know there are people out there. And if I get nothing else across to anybody that's listening, watching, whatever, find what your passion is and support it, whether that's your
Amen.
time, your talent, or your treasures. Because I understand not everybody has the funding, but you and I both know as well if somebody's liking, commenting, sharing your posts, not only does it help with the algorithm, but it's also going to put that in front of somebody else's face that say, hey, I didn't even know this was out there. I want
Yeah,
to jump on
exactly.
board.
I couldn't agree with you more. There have been times in my life where I've been rich, I've been poor, right? And when I've been poor, I'm gifted with leading worship.
Yeah.
That's one thing I do at church, or loving kids. I'm a youth group leader. things like that. And so like that was my donation because I didn't have any
Yeah.
money, like
Right.
depending on my job or the economy. I sold to the federal government. So when they shut down, I don't get paid back on a furlough.
Right.
I'm very strong about that. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, and I will fight for that, but fight less than how I fight for my warfighter, because
Right.
I'm not going to change the world by that, but I can certainly save one life by giving them
Yeah.
hemostatic gauze and a IFAC and a service dog from you.
Yeah.
Right?
And
So, but I say that, people sometimes think when they listen to this, they think, well, oh, well, I couldn't get a dog. Well, okay. Or I couldn't pay for a dog
right.
for a veteran. Well, it's like, right, that's not what we're saying. We're
Right.
saying join the community.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I have met such amazing individuals. Right before this, you and I went on live, I got a call from his name's Lieutenant Commander Matthew Mitchelson, who's soon to be retired Lieutenant Commander. If people are following us, you'll see that Loki and I went on a wounded warrior hunt. We participated in the event. We weren't on the hunt. It was set up by um, by Matt. He has Tradition Production Group, and their organization pays to bring these wounded warriors on hunts and fishing trips and things of that nature. They brought an individual to Southern Ohio. He had lost his right arm in Afghanistan. This, if you know anything about bow hunting, this guy pulled back a 70-pound draw bow with his teeth, and he smoked. He's
Ooh.
Yeah, he smoked a monster buck. But to be able to participate in that event, it had nothing to do with service dogs. It was three Christian-based organizations coming together to serve this veteran. Outdoor Immersions was out there. They're another one, and it was filmed. And this film will be out after next year. But we had a professional film crew there, again, showing what is available. I consider a
Wow.
good friend now. He's a retired SEAL, started Hold the Reins. It's equine therapy. So again, not everybody's into dogs. I don't understand that, but not everybody's into dogs. What
Well, I
is
mean,
your
I mean, I'm
passion?
wagging, I'm wagging my tail as you say that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's equine therapy, art therapy. There's all different things
Yeah,
out there to help
yeah,
these heroes heal.
yeah. Okay, so let me ask this because we are somewhat coming up on time and
Yeah,
I'm loving this whole thing. Um, if you could leave the listeners with something, um, and I want you to understand, Joe, because I approached you. You didn't know
yeah,
me. I
right.
approached you. And you so graciously said yes. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Of
But
course.
I just think what you've been doing is awesome. I've been following you for a long time. So so our listeners, I mean, I kid you not, we're global and it's mainly first responders and DoD, but IDF and I mean all across the globe, right? And but
Right.
then it's also their spouses. And I
Yeah.
say that meaning male or female.
Right.
If you could leave anything to the listeners today to help them understand why a mission this magnitude is important,
Yeah.
would you please do that
So
before we let it
yeah,
go?
I want them to know you're not alone. You may feel alone at times. You're not alone. I'm not the one that coined this phrase, but I'm going to say it anyway. I would rather listen to your troubles than go to your funeral.
Me
And when I
too.
tell people this, I can be an active participant in the conversation or I can listen, whatever you need. So that I want them to know you're not alone. And what we see with the service dogs is you have another life to take care of now, which helps them know that they're not alone. But
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. You're not alone. As the saying goes, suicide is a permanent solution or to a temporary problem. You know, we've got to be there for each other. And I want them to know you, me, there's civilians out there that are willing to help you. We may not have known what you've gone through, but we can be there. We can be a resource to help you find other resources you may need. That's why I have the veterans on my board, that when we have these in-person interviews, they can talk to that. But I want
Yes.
people to know you're not alone. You were put on this earth for a reason. Just keep going through the storm. You're going to get
Amen.
through the other side.
Amen. And if you are someone of faith, it's so awesome. I mean, I
Yeah.
look at Romans 8:24 through 31, and the whole thing talks about how, like, man, no matter what happens, good or bad, basically at the end, that all things, whether they're a piece of shit or they're awesome, all things work for the good of those who love him if you
Yeah.
serve. I mean, if you allow it, if you allow to share it. And so,
Yeah.
sometimes, I had a guy earlier today that we're going to interview this guy who is a phenomenal warrior, someone who has beat all odds against all odds as a human being, not a dog. Unbelievable. Okay. And we were like, how do you even wrap your head around interviewing this guy because of his resiliency? I
Yeah.
mean, his resiliency was so big, right? And I don't know, some people are born with certain things. He has it. Some don't realize that that with your ministry and with your mission, what's happening is that they truly can touch somebody at an airport
Yeah.
and not even know it,
Yep.
or at a grocery store and not even know it.
Yeah.
And
It's amazing what we can
it's a
do for each
ripple
other.
effect. Right.
You know,
It's a
and
ripple effect.
I got to put this out there. My dad passed about 5 years ago, and he was one of those individuals that everybody loved. I used to be of the mindset, and you probably can't tell anymore, that if my neighbor said hi, it was time to move. I was that kind of individual.
Yeah.
When he passed, it was kind of the middle of COVID, 4 hours of people nonstop paying their respects. I said, that's right there. I changed. I stopped being that introvert and changed immediately, because that's not how we're supposed to be as Christians. You're supposed to be a giving. This is what I believe God put in my heart that I'm supposed to be doing in life, and who am I to argue with him?
Mm,
So, again, like I said earlier, find your passion. What are you called to do? You may not know it right now. I'm 57 years old. I figured it out, when I was 52. It's never too late. Just
no,
make every day count.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you. To our listeners, I want to say thank you so much for listening today to Joe. What an honor it has been to talk to him about Canine
Thank you.
Heroes for Heroes. Oh gosh, thank you. And I'm so blessed that he agreed to say yes to this. That's number one. Number two is, I'm going to lift up a prayer for him. I prayed for him, Father God, that you would please continue to bless his ministry, and that you would continue to lift up what is going on and all the accolades and all the great things that are happening, that you may continue to touch lives and save lives because of these canines that are helping out the soldiers, sailors, airmen, first responders, and those of that nature that need help. I also want to say to our people, and in his name we pray, amen. I want to say to the people that are watching, who are going, man, I'm stuck, and I wouldn't mind talking to Joe about, is there a way that I could get a dog, or that I could talk about, could he connect me with someone in my neighborhood that has one? You
Yeah.
guys, um, please do. Please reach out to um to this podcast. It's splintsandwhiskey.com. Or you can reach out to me, Liz Arts. I'm all over these feeds and stuff because I'm the ones who post them. And then or you could just go to my just direct website, which covers the entity of the stuff that we do, which is www.thelizarts.com. It's I'll put it in the feed, but we don't do it. Liz Arts doesn't do it because of Liz Arts. I want to make sure that our heroes can be connected with Joe. So if you want to go directly to Joe, his stuff will be in the feed too. Okay. So Joe, stick with me. I'm going to say goodbye to
Absolutely.
these guys. Okay. So, and gosh, thank you for your
Thank
story.
you.
Oh gosh, and thanks for being here. And I'm just thrilled by it. Anyway, Splints and Whiskey people, we will see you next week. We totally appreciate you guys listening this week, and we ask you to please share this. Only share it because someone's going to need it. And believe me, you're going to feel like a superstar when you give somebody the gift of life by giving them a canine. My personal cilantro came from hashtag Adam Redding from North American Rescue because he sent a dog that was looking for a home. And um, after that, quickly after that, I had gotten attacked with PTSD and my dog was trained. And I think that if I didn't know Adam Redding, thank you, Adam, I would never have cilantro. And um, I may have done something stupid, but I knew that cilantro was my dog and I wouldn't have left him alone. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it. So anyway, you guys, thank you so much for listening. God bless. And Joe, stick with me. And you guys have an awesome night and week. We will talk to you in the near future. Hasta la vista and have a great week. Bye bye.